joins. Everybody already started saying their chapter and area, but if you could continue to comment that. My name is Rich. I am in St. Louis. I'm at Washington University right now. And yeah, we're excited for this. We're really excited we could get this together and try this for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name's Sean. I'm the treasurer, and I'm in actually Miami, Florida right now. We're just really excited that technology-wise everything's working out right now. So Rich has worked really hard at that.
It's it's incredibly interesting how adding a guest to a live stream really makes things difficult. But this is really to address a problem that has come up over the past several years and seems to come up again each year. And so that is communication, and for us being able to talk to members, and for members being able to talk to us. So this is one way we found that we decided that may be helpful to do that. And if this does work this evening, we can continue to do that and continue to maybe even do these on a smaller, more frequent basis.
Yeah, and also one thing that we thought about as a board was the student conclave was something that in November, which had just happened, I think a couple weeks ago in Chicago, the student conclave. But as a board, we used to go to student conclave. Since we're not doing that anymore, now we're only going to AOTA conference. We felt that maybe doing this orientation or doing this orientation to reach out to you guys and be able to talk to you guys would be beneficial.
And please give us feedback. This is pretty informal because we really wanted to design it around the questions that you guys asked. We initially had a plan to kind of go through several things, but then we had a worry that we wouldn't be able to address all the specific things that you guys wanted to hear about. And so please chime in, comment on the YouTube section, on the YouTube live chat, or send us a message on Facebook. I'm going to be checking my email, Facebook, and the live chat to respond. And really, that is the benefit of this evening, is being able to have that back and forth, because we've heard often that people feel like they don't have access to us, and we don't want that to be the case. I guess we can give our full introduction now. I think everybody's on. My name is Rich. I am a third-year student. I live in St. Louis. I see a bunch of East Coasters, or at least one New Yorker. So hello from my part of the country. And I, like many of you probably listening, am a student as well. And I've been on the board for about a year. The complaints that I hear, or I've heard members, come to the annual business meeting with this last year, were things that I thought about too as a member. So these are things that I'm really concerned with solving and trying to improve, and that's why I tried to run for this position. And so far, I think we've been doing a better job. Now it's you guys that can tell us that, but so far it looks like things like this may virtually may be the best option.
Absolutely. And just gonna give my introduction again. So my name's Sean. I'm from Miami, Florida. I've been practicing now for about 4 years. I'm on my second term, so I'm in my third year as being a treasurer. And just like Rich was saying, a lot of the things that's talked about at the annual business meeting and the faculty advisors meeting is communication with the board. So that's one thing that we really want to work on as a national board is to be able to reach out to you guys and feel that you guys are connected, and also not just connected with us, but also connected with other chapters that are in locally between, in between each there's cities or states or whatever it is. So that's the whole idea of tonight.
Yes. Yeah. So a good place to start is also where it seems there were several questions, and some of those questions were kind of more generally about PTE and about PTE's mission. And so what I'd like to do now is just introduce some parts of the website to everybody that I think will be helpful. So let me just pull this up. And then that way we're going to kind of talk about the mission a little bit as well. And so if you go to aotf.org, pi-theta-epsilon, that brings you to our Pi Theta Epsilon homepage. Now, the first thing that you'll notice about this is that we are embedded in AOTF's website. And so really AOTF is the organization that supports us. They support so many of our initiatives. We have office staff at AOTF to help support us at a national level and help support you. And when you think about the mission and the purpose behind PTE, it's something to consider that we're nested under AOTF. And of course, AOTF's mission is building occupational therapy evidence and research. And so just as like the Assembly of Student Delegates is the student arm, if you will, of AOTA, Pi Theta Epsilon is similarly, not exactly the same, of course, because we are an honor society, is similarly a research student arm of AOTF. And so, these larger organizations have these different levels of engagement at that student and practitioner level. Now, I did mention students, but we also have a lot of lifetime members and clinicians. And so PTE has a lot of opportunities when you're a student, but those opportunities continue after graduation. And we'll kind of talk more about the benefits. I know somebody was concerned that their members didn't want to, or those who were invited didn't want to join this year. But real quick, I'm going to jump down here into just a little bit about us. So, Specialized Honor Society for OT students and alumni. Its mission is to promote research and scholarship among occupational therapy students. So, what does that mean, or what does that look like? That is probably better answered in maybe when we talk about the projects and the different the different options that you have. But I really, those key words there are research and scholarship. And we want to prepare students to practice authentic OT. So our specific mission, or if I just read it in whole right now, the mission of Pi Theta Epsilon is to support the practice of occupational sciences and the practice of authentic occupational therapy by promoting research, leadership, and scholarly activities by its members. In this way, the organization serves not only the profession, but helps ensure quality healthcare services for the general public. And so, that's if you were to ask me, that is a lofty mission. That incorporates a lot, and that might get some people lost. But what I think it also does is it keeps the door open for members to be creative in how they carry out that mission. And again, we can kind of get into that a little bit more. But we'll jump back to the website several times in between. But I encourage you to follow along with us. Is there a reason my Pi Theta page looks different in Minneapolis? That is very interesting. We did update the website recently. You may be on our old page somehow. I believe they took it down, but okay. Rebecca kind of answered that. All right. Any of you guys out there, please comment questions as we go. Again, we want to make sure we're addressing what you're here for. We want to make this as practical as possible and really worth your time. But
we also wanted to know what stage of chapter development everyone that's listening is in, because that'll be helpful as we continue on with tonight.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we did send out that survey, and not everybody from that survey is there, so I don't know, of course, if this data is true, and that's why we're kind of asking again. But it looks like the majority of chapters here have been around for over 10 years, and that's totally okay. I mean, we name this a beginner's orientation, but it could really be called so many other things, a PTE workshop, and so on. But and then we did have a few chapters starting. So if everybody could comment, third year's advisor, chapter for many years. Okay, thank you, Shore OT and Sunny W. If you can, as Sean is kind of introducing this next piece, just tell us a little bit about if you've used our website, and if you have used it, what the barriers were to finding the information that you needed on there, because we were updating that website constantly and we really want to make it user friendly. But if you haven't used the website, let us know, and then we know where to show you. If you have and it wasn't user friendly, let us know that too.
So that's been our like kind of mission, is to kind of work on the website recently, trying to make it user friendly, because I remember when I first started on the board, the website was very difficult to navigate, and many of the questions that we get at the annual business meeting or the chapter the advisors workshop, many of these questions can be found on Chapter in a Box. So if you go to aotf.org and you go to the Pi Theta Epsilon spot, what you'll see on the left-hand side is it says section navigation. And if you go click on chapter resources and you scroll down just below chapter operations, this is where you can find, it includes membership eligibility criteria, how to even run a ceremony, the chapter standing operating procedures, the dues and payments, information, whatever there is to start up a chapter is in PT Chapter in a Box. So if you click on that, it's a pretty big document. I think it's about 62 pages, but it literally goes through and gives you even frequently asked questions. It breaks down what is the job of the executive board, what are some of the questions that new members may have, and it breaks down what are the different types of membership, and so forth. And so then it also goes into different ideas of how to run meetings, and also for the advisors that are listening, it gives some some suggestions to the advisor, and also gives kind of some feedback to the chapter advisor. So the Chapter in a Box is a great resource that many starting out chapters don't even know about, and also chapters that have been around for a while don't even know about chapter in a box. So that's something we continue to push about and continue to advocate about, is use chapter in a box, because it is extremely resourceful.
Yeah. Exactly. Just want to echo what Sean said. So, we've heard many of these issues before in the past, and the answer was to create this chapter in a box as a guide for somebody who would like to start a chapter to pick it up and go basically step by step. And so, just wanted to highlight a couple things from there. Let me just pull that up. And I'm going to check the email and Facebook in a moment, just to make sure we're not missing anybody. But okay, so it goes through national frequently asked questions, but also goes through kind of what responsibilities or roles you have at conference for PTE. And so national business meeting, and so if you're an active member of one semester, you can attend the annual business meeting. Typically, it's elected officers that attend the annual business meeting. I didn't do this on purpose, but as I'm talking about the annual business meeting, please come or send a delegate from your chapter, or just send somebody from your school to come and just listen. Even if they pick up a couple things, it may be really helpful. But that will be in the schedule at AOTA, and your chapters will be notified for that. But essentially, it goes through, a lot of students want to know the benefits or what scholarships are available. And so it goes through that, the Mary J. Bridle First Research Award and the Martha Kirkland Endowed Scholarship. Those are both available. And specifically, the Mary J. Bridle is for PTE members. And so now, a lot of people will kind of end there when talking about the benefits of PTE. And so, another frequently asked question is what are the benefits of PTE, and how do I benefit from being a member? And the answer to that is in several ways, and it really does ask some work of its members to get that benefit, and I'll kind of explain that. But there are things like, for example, free CEUs, which we do. Sean, that's 3 a year at this point in time?
Yeah, yep, 3.
So for a lifetime member, if you were to do a lifetime, you get 3 CEUs per year through us, and that we tried to really set up as a real tangible benefit for members. If you do attend a conference, you can attend our meetings, and come and share with others, the activities you've done, the different events that you've had. And for me, a lot of the benefit was provided by my chapter. And now, while we are constantly working on new initiatives to improve benefits, so we have the CEUs, which is new in the past year. We had a mentor workshop, or a mentor speed match. Speed mentoring, sorry, at AOTA in New Orleans this year. People got a lot out of that, made a lot of contacts. And then we had, of course, our reception and other events. And then the scholarships. But one thing my chapter did, is we put our fundraising money into a pot, and then we decided at the end of the year where would this go, and our decision was that we chose to give some to St. Catherine's Challenge, and we chose to give the rest away as scholarships to attend conference. And that can be really, really powerful. I mean, if you raise, $1,000, over the course of a year, you could send 5 people to, maybe buy their 5 plane tickets to conference, or 4, or however many it may be. But it could really, really make a difference. And remember that would be supporting the PTE mission. Another thing that we did was we kept that open to all students, regardless of if they were in PTE or any student organization. We, it does frequently come up that PTE may be exclusionary or may set others apart. But my answer to that would be just don't approach it that way. Really make it something that's going to benefit research and occupational therapy for everybody on campus and in the student body. And so I think if you foster that climate or that culture, that could help address that, because our students that aren't in PTE like that PTE is around because they provide scholarships to conference. And of course there's an application process and such, and that is all up to students, but that was how I was able to attend conference a few years as a student. Sean, for benefits, am I?
Yeah. So the CEUs that you're talking about is through ot.com, and so the 3 CEUs, basically what you'll find is that we usually send out a blast email about the different CEUs that are coming up. And you have the opportunity to sign up for the CEUs that are offered by ot.com. And kind of going back to the different scholarships that we talked about, the Martha Kirkland Scholarship. One thing that we've been really working on is, again, those benefits to the PTE members. And just recently, we allocated more money to the Martha Kirkland Scholarship. We're hoping to increase it up to. Last year we had two winners of the Martha Kirkland Scholarship. So now we're thinking about moving it up to about $3,000 for that scholarship. Going to the Mary J. Bridal, talking that was. Last year was at $750. We're increasing it to $1,000, and we're coming up with a brand new grant that we're going to allocate about $1,000 to. And then we're thinking about different ways to also get our members more involved with the board, and also thinking about different ways to get back to the PT alum. So that's some of the tangible benefits of being a PTE member or a PTE lifetime member.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're designing that grant application so it would be you would receive a real grant, and so that is something that you can put on your CV, and it's something that you could use that money to help people through an event that you do with another chapter. As of right now, did Chapter in a Box answer a lot of people's who are starting a chapter? Did that answer their questions? Would you like us to go into the petition form and those kind of items? Yes, the scholarships are due January 31st. And let's see. Okay. All right. Really, I mean, the Chapter in a Box, I'm just going to kind of pull that back up again, because that that is many documents consolidated. Somebody did make a comment that they don't see it as that some parts might not be updated. I believe the one thing I saw on there for sure was that our national coordinator changed. So if you do need that email, I can give that to you now, and I will just comment that in the comments, so everybody has that. And his name is David Robertson. So it's drobertson@aotf.org, and I will put that in the comments. So I still wasn't clear what qualified as a paper with feedback. Okay. So let me just look that up.
Are they talking about?
Okay. So you're talking about as part of the application. What we do at my chapter, and from what seems common to me, is that as long as it's a piece of work that had to integrate concepts, do a little bit of at least a little bit of a literature review, but begin to research something, and we kind of leave that open because that could happen very early in the student's program, right? And so they could just be getting used to that type of work. And so really, if it's a paper with some kind of grade on it, some kind of commenting from the professors, something where there was a reflective piece, or where there was kind of that back and forth. So I hope that answers that.
Yeah, no, exactly. At FIU, one of the things that we had to do was we had to submit work that we had done that had been graded, whether I believe it had to be a research paper, and what Rich had said, there had to be like a literature review or something to do with research that had been graded by a professor, or a professor had gone through and critiqued it, or had looked at it and graded it.
So I have our survey up. I know we're about a half hour in already. I just wanted to kind of address some of these questions, and Sean can't see the results since I made the survey, but we'll kind of go through these and just kind of discuss them, and some of them are kind of similar. Okay, first I did want to address this one comment first. For new grad getting a job during PDPM, I hear you. I am also soon to be a new grad in about 6 weeks getting a job during PDPM, but that unfortunately isn't within the scope of PTE, because we would never have the resources to match the work that AOTA is doing to explain and kind of help therapists through that problem. As much as I care about it myself, because it's probably going to affect my job search, it's a little bit outside of our scope. Okay, we are filling out paperwork. That'd be a great opportunity to learn more about the process. Yeah, I mean, it really starts all with that petition form, and you hear back pretty quickly. I believe on our website it says 10 business days, and that's pretty quick. Also, something I want to say too, just as we're talking, is please reach out to us. Use that AOTF. There are real people on the other end who care about the success of the organization. We have attempted to put our emails on the website, but we were advised against that with understandable reason, because they can spam that email. But please reach out to us, because you'll get our email through David or through one of those general emails. And you now have at least Sean and I's email after this evening.
Yeah, and also through Facebook, and also like follow us on Facebook, Instagram, any kind of social media, because that's important too, because if you're doing something that is scholarly, we want to know about it. So, submit it to us, tell us about it so we can get it out there and we can tell people, like, tell other chapters, hey, look, this is what, this school is doing, this is what this school is doing. And so you get that collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so I just saw somebody mention first semester, just back to that scholarly work. Yes. Well, I mean, if there isn't anything that's a great candidate with feedback, if maybe you would be okay with that student asking that one professor to have a discussion, or which they could then write down some feedback. That is tough if there's not too many papers in the first summer or in the first semester, but maybe writing a paper for the sake of the application that they pass to somebody, a mentor, a faculty member, a professor they like. Just maybe a page writing sample, integrating some concepts and kind of and putting them together. What you really want to see is somebody is interested in research, right? Somebody took the time, or just scholarship. Somebody's interested in producing good work, right? That's what we're kind of hoping for, or a good scholarly writing. Because that's the kinds of things that we want to encourage, and the kind of climate we want to create, and so on.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to also reach out to the faculty advisor to see what they're going to accept, as well as the scholarly written work.
Yeah, and let me just look at exactly how that's worded.
Well, it's on page 15. I believe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah. Scholarly written work completed while enrolled. Yeah, and so shall be submitted as evidence of the applicant's ability, right? So at a bare minimum, it needs to show that they are able to produce a piece of work, and even if those, the comment really could be, I would expand on this point more next time. It doesn't need to be a page of written feedback. Okay. Okay, so I am the faculty advisor for this chapter. This is our first chapter, and this is another chapter for advice, and they had none to give. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We're a bit flexible with this requirement too, since many of our courses. Yeah. Right. So we're trying to grasp the student's ability to put together a piece of work, and so just as students have to get letters of recommendation and facilitate that process to just get into school, maybe you could employ a similar thing where they are on their own to write this piece, like they would be in their career, and they seek somebody to receive feedback. So within the confines of a piece of scholarly written work while in the program, those are the rules. You can be pretty creative. Sorry, Sean, were you going to say something?
No, it was the scholarly work that we had to submit could have been anything. It was from, I remember submitting the first semester we had begun working on a research proposal, and we had worked in a group on it, and there were actually several of us that had worked on the paper, and that was something that I had submitted to my faculty advisor, and that was acceptable for them, because my work was on that as well. It was graded. We had gotten feedback from a professor, so that like Rich was saying, you can kind of get creative with it.
Yeah. That pulls us back into what we were talking about in the beginning, which I think the rubber hits the road with tonight, because it's pulling a lot of things together, and that is, a lot of people commented about event ideas to pass to the next board, understanding activities that chapter can engage in to promote scholarship, and let's see, looking for ideas on activities, some more clarity on the mission and how to enact it. So a lot of this is like, okay, we're in PTE now. What do we do? And that's a good question. But it's a good question because it allows you to be creative within that mission. So what I did is I pulled together a list of events that my chapter hosted. And how to kind of organize this. I'm going to kind of share several things that I know other chapters have done and my chapter has done. So as far as events go, students would once they are in PTE, they would have to join a committee, and it didn't need to be a existing committee. They could form their own new committee, right? So there's no hard rule of you need a conference committee in your PTE chapter, but we found that often PTE chapters have a conference committee because that would help fulfill the mission of PTE. And then conference committee, what would they do? Well, they might be the ones to begin fundraising for those conference scholarships. They might be the ones to organize all the information into a brief PowerPoint to share with the students to increase the interest of attending conference. They might, present on other conferences outside of AOTA that students might be interested or might want to go to. So that's one quick example of a committee and what they might do. What we did was we had events that were there to fundraise and events that were there to promote that scholarly research. And students really liked planning these events because our student organization, or we call it Woo Soda or Soda, they would have these kind of same events every year, and often the students would kind of feel like they were just kind of repeating the next thing and going on. But really, we allowed students to be very creative, and that resulted in some really cool events. And so one fundraising idea that somebody did was creating care packages to be sent home with an evidence-based clipboard with a whole bunch of curriculum and program-specific information that they learned on that clipboard, and put together this, and added several other things in this package, and then sent a letter to the parents of in the program, basically saying, hey, this is our mission. Your child is about to go off to field work. This is what, often OTs need some resources while they're on this experience, and so we put this together. It's a fundraiser for this. And we had a great response. That event alone raised over $600. And so that's a really good example of something that is pretty easy to do too. I mean, it didn't take a lot of work. It just was something that had to happen over several months because you had to get those letters out early. And I know Sean does this one, did this one as well with his chapter, but a journal club. I mean,
yeah,
it's just such a great way to really have that exploration of the literature and of the science, that can be self-motivating and delve into those things that that they want to understand and know about and talk about. And maybe they can invite all students. They can just do it within the PTE. They can do it with faculty and students. There's several different things that where it could be carried out. But I know.
Yeah. Also, just kind of going back to different ideas or different activities that we could do. We didn't do it as when I was president, but I wish we would have. But they're doing it now at Florida International University. The Pi Theta Epsilon chapter is actually fundraising a research symposium that we would have every single year. So the master's degree students have to do a project at the end of the program. So they would have Florida International University, Barry University, Nova, and all 3 or 4 different universities would come together and they would have a research symposium night. And Pi Theta Epsilon decided to start sponsoring that. And that is the promotion of scholarly work, So also, like what Rich has said was the journal club. The journal club was also something else that we did at Florida International University. And going back to chapter in a box, if you're looking at different fundraising ideas, if you scroll down to page 47, there's a whole list of different fundraising ideas. For instance, one says PTE sponsored workshop or seminar with an entrance fee. So going back to the sponsored workshop, one of the things I did when I was president was we decided to have a workshop with the PT students, and as a PTE, we went in and we showed the PTs how to make a wrist immobilization orthosis. And we sat down with them and we explained to them, what is this used for? Why is it necessary? And we actually, showed the PTs how to, make splints. Going back to the chapter in a box, different fundraising ideas, movie night, a social. I know recently. FIU, the PT program had a pizza night, and they were able to raise money, and that money can be used for so many different things. And I think they actually did the pizza night for St. Catherine's Challenge, which is a great way to fund OT research, and that's what AOTF is all about, is producing more research for OT, and because that's extremely important for us. And if you go onto chapter in a box, I know we keep talking about it a lot tonight, but there's a whole list of different fundraising ideas, different events that you can have in the community that would be great for your chapter.
Yeah, and now that we have this this grant out, encourage, if you are a student or you're a faculty advisor, encourage students to look into this grant. It'd be pretty cool to say that, hey, our chapter was the first one to get this grant, and of course, you would be recognized with that as an award for the year, and those chapters would be recognized together. Some other events, just to, we have some other resources that on our campus, like a teaching center. So one student brought them down to talk about all the resources they have at their teaching center, which includes different workshops for those that are interested in teaching and educating once they leave school. We did have an inter-chapter PTE happy hour. We hosted a lunch talk about the logistics of attending conference, how to pay for it, opportunities, why you would go, what to expect, how to prepare. and really making that an easy process.
And Rich, just to kind of jump in real quick,
Yeah.
You're able to look up all those different activities. I guess there's a folder that you guys used. For me, what I was given, I was very lucky. The previous president had made a folder, and I think the previous president before that had made a folder of the different events that they had hosted. So it literally was like the Bible of the Mew chapter, and I was able to look. I was able to like, oh, okay, they did this, they did this. So think about it. You're only for the people that are on the executive board, you're only there for for a year or a year or two. So you got to think about who's coming in next. Maybe making them a folder that you can pass down to them, and that can be passed down to the next chapter. You got to think about moving forward, because they're going to have the same exact questions as you guys.
Right, and that is turnover is another issue of why it's really hard to communicate with people. Meaning, students are only students for so long, and they're only a president of a chapter for so long, and faculty advisors are only an advisor for so long, and some things get lost in the weeds there because we often send emails and try to communicate, but it doesn't always get to where it's intended, which frustrates people, and we understand, because it frustrates us on our end, because we want to provide these things for you. As I'm looking through, we're about 50 minutes in. Looks like we lost a couple people, and I don't know if that's because they got what they wanted to know, or if we're just talking a bit. But if anybody wants to just comment or leave anything that they would really like us to discuss before we sign off for this evening, I'm going to go back to the survey and just as you're thinking about that. Oh yeah, event ideas to pass on next board. Just like Sean said, I mean, that book is a perfect idea. I know we do have on our YouTube channel a St. Catherine's Challenge video of how to fundraise for St. Catherine's Challenge, and one of the suggestions that they made was keeping track of all the events you do in a year, how much it made, what the attendance was, and putting it into a folder. Okay. This is good. What best practices start a chapter, clarity on mission, how others enact it. So essentially what we did to get students to engage and be involved with the process of being a PTE member was we required students every semester to do, I think it was 5 SDUs is what we call them. They were called Scholarly Development Units. So they needed to do 5 things related to scholarship and the mission of PTE within that semester. And that could be a 1-hour webinar, learning about a new, treatment, something that they could bring back to the rest of the OT students and, do a little reflection, or just discuss it for 30 seconds in their PTE meeting and tell everybody about what they learned. And that would count as 1. If they were on a committee or doing a larger project, then maybe that would count as 2. And then you're starting to get students to start that process of, I need to get all my all my units by the end of the semester, and so it's helping a little bit with that professional development.
Yeah, and just another idea. One thing that we had done was, as a board, is when I was at FIU, we decided to as a board purchase honors cords. And so one thing that we encourage members to do is, if you were an active member, based off of whatever criteria we came up with, we would give you the honors cord, and that honors cord meant a ton to them. I mean, we didn't let them know that you could purchase those off of the AOTF website through Pi Theta Epsilon, but we told them that we would buy it for them. All they would have to do is attend the events and just be an active member. And for them, like, that honor score meant a lot. And so it was just reinforcement for them to make sure that they attended every event or were there and were participating. So
yeah, the cost. So first off, I agree, it is expensive to join, especially initially, especially as a student. But what we're doing with that, frankly, is providing scholarships, as well as operating and supporting members. So it is going to good places. Now, with that investment into PTE, students can, as of right now and for the foreseeable future, get 3 CEU credits a year for as long as we can sustain that, which we think will probably be indefinitely at this point, since it's been working out really well. Of course, I can't guarantee that because I don't know who the board will be in a couple of years, but it's something that everyone's responding really well to and attending. And so that's a consideration, that 3 CEUs a year.
And also, just let us know any ideas of what would be beneficial to you guys as well. We're always looking for different tangible benefits to get you guys involved. I think one thing that we've missed is also that 1-year subscription to OTJR, that publication. Okay, so
right,
there are many different tangible benefits. The $175, it seems like a lot. However, we keep coming up with different ideas and different benefits. So it is a lot, but if you think about it from the benefit standpoint, you're definitely gaining.
For example, for a speed mentoring, a speed mentoring event that we had, Ginny Stoffel and all these amazing, incredible people. Susan Lynn, Susan Murphy. I mean, just
some amazing
everybody. Yeah, like everybody on the list there was incredible, and just the. I don't know. I mean, I would also argue that it could add networking potential and value in that way, and it's a way to engage in that profession. Also, what I want to just say on the course, she likes the SDU idea. Awesome. So for whoops, I was just reading something. Totally lost my train of thought. Okay, let me just jump to this. Sorry, I just want to read this off. So $175, including a $50 induction fee, and that's for lifetime. $25 of that is returned to your chapter, right? Your benefits are free CEUs opportunities. You can run for national office, vote, attend the annual business meeting, get OTJR, events at AOTF, and so on. Now, one way to address that is to put some of your fundraising efforts into a pot that can help subsidize the next year incoming PTE class. So that way you start this process, this roll, where they're paying much less out of pocket. And it might be $10 off a person. It might be $20 off a person. It might be $100 off a person. It just depends on what you decide and how much you fundraise. And it would take a very generous chapter to leave that money behind, or generous group of students to leave that money behind for the next group of students. But using that fundraising in a very practical way to help subsidize that. And of course, we don't want to be cost prohibitive. One of the things that we want to keep in mind is that not everybody has the same socioeconomic means, but there are minimum things that we need to operate. And so I encourage you all to explore fundraising opportunities. Maybe you want to help people go to conference. Maybe you want to help, help get these students more engaged in activities like that. Real quick, I'm just going to answer this. SDU idea, specific criteria, examples listed. Yes. To qualify for these somewhere, yes. So I'm gonna leave you my email, and just email me, and I will send you our requirement. But yeah, we do have only one unit could be a webinar. Only 2 units can be on a committee. But it keeps people accountable. Accountability is huge, right? Especially when things are busy, and then you add another new student organization on top of. Typically, Pi Theta students are members of SOTA and several other things. So, all right. Well, it looks like we're winding down. What are you thinking, Sean?
Yeah. Is there any more questions?
Yeah.
We definitely want to hear back from you guys. Feedback is very important to us. We listen to you guys. This is about you guys, and whatever way we can help you guys out, or if you guys think of benefits that you would like to see, please let us know. And remember to again follow us on Facebook, Instagram, any of our social media networks, okay? And let us know anything that you're doing.
Yes, and just to reiterate that $175, that's a one-time lifetime fee. So that's it. So if you fundraise to get that $100 off the top or whatever, that is a lifetime benefit for that person. So I encourage to think about that. I just want to make sure there's nothing else we wanted to show. Real quick, I just want to show one more thing here. Okay, so just real quick to show you guys at the end here, aotf.org pi-theta-epsilon chapter resources. Please, I encourage you to scroll down through all of these items. Identifying and inviting eligible students. I know there was a question about eligibility. It's very clear, who is eligible. But if you have, more than 35% of the class tied at 4.0s, more of these kind of complex things, please reach out to us so we can problem solve through that. We want to be a resource, and we want to work together. So as far as the other comments left on the survey, I think we addressed almost everything, if not everything. Yeah, one more time, I'll just throw it out there. Any other comments or concerns before we sign off? Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys. We really do appreciate it, and appreciate your time tuning in.
Yeah. Please.